What's up, you guys? My name is Aubrey, this is my channel, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that you should avoid if you're somebody who's wanting to get a loan. Now, this video is going to be specifically targeted towards people that want to get a business loan specifically, but to be honest, all of this advice is applicable whether you're wanting to get a loan for a car, whether you're wanting to get a loan for a small business, whether you're wanting to get a loan for a mortgage. So if you're somebody who is wanting to borrow money at any point in the near future, then this video is for you. So let's get started. Now, throughout my career, I've had the fortunate ability to learn a lot about loans and a lot about business loans specifically. This is in part because of the fact that whenever I was 21, I secured my very first SBA loan, which was valued at $330,000. A second reason is because over the last year and a half, I've had to truly engulf my life into the SBA because of the videos that I create on this YouTube channel to help you guys navigate the pandemic. And the third reason, and a reason that many of you probably don't know, is that in addition to my YouTube channel, in addition to my Turo fleet and everything that I have going on in the public eye, I also work in consulting with a consulting firm. And this consulting job has a high focus on small business. And so because of that, I've had the opportunity to speak with thousands of different small business owners with a wide variety of success levels across the entire United States. Now, these experiences have, of course, taught me a ton of valuable lessons. They've taught me how to go about securing funding for my business needs, whether it be for a home, for a car, for a business, whatever the case is. But in addition to teaching me what to do when securing funding for my business, I've also learned what not to do. And I've learned some of the biggest mistakes to avoid. Because the reality is, I see mistakes being made all the time, and they're the same mistakes being made over and over and over again. And they can be very easily avoided if you just know what to avoid ahead of time. But before we continue, I want to ask you guys to do me a huge favor. And if you could please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, I would greatly appreciate it. This helps let YouTube know that you guys are enjoying my content, and it helps push my YouTube content out to a new audience. Thus, it helps grow my channel. So if you guys could do that, I would greatly appreciate it. And so with that, let's dig into the very first mistake to avoid, and that is to avoid making any large purchases using credit around the same time frame that you are wanting to secure a large loan, whether that loan be for a small business or for a mortgage. This is incredibly important because whenever you are looking at getting a loan for whatever purpose you need, one of the big factors in qualifying for that loan will be credit utilization. Credit utilization is a metric that almost every single lender is going to look at when determining if you are somebody that they want to loan money to. Whether you're somebody who's getting a home loan, an auto loan, an SBA loan, whatever the case is, credit utilization will be viewed. And basically, this is a way to determine how risky of a bet loaning money to you would be. A high credit utilization is typically a red flag. This means that you are not liquid in your cash and you probably have a lot of debt. If credit utilization is low, that means that you could be a trustworthy candidate to loan money to. Whenever you're getting a large loan, like a mortgage loan or an SBA loan, credit utilization is looked at. And because of that, if you are somebody that has good credit utilization, but then you go out and you finance a set of furniture for your house or you buy a new car, then this throws off your credit utilization and it can put your entire loan at risk. Credit utilization is an incredibly important metric when securing your loan. And so in order to keep this as low as possible and in order to not throw off any of your loan documents, avoiding some of these larger frivolous purchases that you may make on a line of credit is something that is absolutely crucial in your loan approval. Now, on to a very similar note is holding a balance on your credit card, and this plays to a very similar note of the credit utilization. You see, whenever you're somebody who's wanting to get a large loan, whether it be for a mortgage or an SBA loan, you don't necessarily want to avoid credit altogether. In fact, using your credit cards can be a really great tool to increase the odds of getting approval because it helps increase your credit. But there's a big difference between using and abusing credit cards. And if you're somebody who's wanting to use a credit card as a way to build your credit and as a way to get approval on these larger loans, then it is incredibly important to not hold a balance. This is where credit cards can either become a tool or a hindrance in your credit and business growth. If you are somebody that has a history of abusing credit cards and holding a balance on a month-by-month basis that you ultimately have to pay off, then you should just simply avoid using credit cards at all. But if you're somebody who can use credit cards responsibly, and if you're somebody who can pay off the balance each and every month, then using credit cards and using them as often as possible can be a really great tool to help you secure that larger six-figure loan. But do not make the mistake of spreading yourself too thin and forcing yourself to carry a balance month by month. If you're going to use a credit card, then use it responsibly, pay off the balance each and every month, and if you're not able to do that, then simply avoid using credit cards at all. The third mistake to avoid is one that I see all the time, and if I'm being honest, this is probably the most prevalent mistake that I see in people that are looking for SBA loans. And that is whenever you don't have any idea what actually entails with getting an SBA loan. If you are somebody that is wanting to get a large loan for your business, or even if you're somebody who's wanting to get a mortgage, you should have a pretty good understanding of what is going to be required from you before you even begin the process of actually applying to banks. You should have an understanding of what credit score you should have, what documents you'll need to provide, what type of collateral you need to provide. You should have an understanding of this before even beginning the process of applying. The reason is because applying for an SBA loan is a quite long and tedious process. It's something that isn't very easy to do, and for good reason. The SBA doesn't want an SBA loan to be super easy to get. They want there to be some hurdles to jump through, that way they can weed out the people that aren't legitimate. And the unfortunate thing is that for many people, their first glimpse into the world of the SBA were with COVID-19 programs like the PPP and the EIDL, which were two programs that were very easy to apply to. And so because of the simplicity associated with these COVID-19 related programs, many people believe that the SBA in general is just super easy to apply to, and that simply is not the case. The SBA requires a ton of documentation. They require collateral. They require an upfront down deposit. They require you to have a certain credit score, certain backgrounds. There is a lot of criteria that you have to meet as an SBA loan applicant. And if you don't meet these pieces of criteria, then you will simply be denied. It's important to understand what is going to be expected of you if you're somebody who wants to get approved for a loan. Again, whether it be for a mortgage or for an SBA loan. So you should have an understanding of what type of down deposit is going to be required, roughly what the monthly payment is going to be, what type of business you have to have in order to qualify, what type of collateral you'll need to offer, what type of credit score you should have, what type of experience you have, what type of documentation you'll need to present. These are all things that you should have a decent idea about before actually going through the process of applying for an SBA loan. If you don't have a decent idea of what is going to be required of you, it will be very difficult to get approved because it'll be very difficult to get organized enough to present all the required documentation. Now, the great thing is that banks are there to help, and so if you are somebody who is interested in getting an SBA loan but you don't know where to start, then I would encourage you to call up a local bank. I would encourage you to do some research by going on the SBA.gov website. I'd encourage you into looking at YouTube videos like this one. There are a ton of free resources online to help point you in the right direction of what type of documentation and what type of requirements you must meet. But you must have a decent idea of these types of things before going and applying for a loan, because if you don't, then there is a good chance that you'll be denied. The fourth mistake is on a very similar point, and that is to know your chances of approval before applying. This is something, again, that is so incredibly important. I think that so often there isn't a clear-cut criteria, a clear-cut list of expectations set with getting a mortgage or getting an SBA loan, and because of that, people who simply cannot qualify still want to go through the application process. The problem is, though, is that applying for a loan and then being denied for that loan oftentimes can negatively impact your credit. It not only negatively impacts your credit, but it can also be discouraging for you, and it may discourage you from doing that exact same thing in the future. If you're somebody who may be on the fence of getting approved for an SBA loan, I would encourage you to first talk to a banker and see what your odds of approval are before actually going through the process of actually filling out the application. This can be really good for a few different reasons. Number one is it helps guide you in the right direction of what you must do in order to get approved. For example, let's say that you talk to a banker about getting an SBA loan and you find that you don't have enough cash or the credit to be able to get approved. Well, you now know what the two things that you need to work on are. You know that you need to save some more money, and you know that you need to improve your credit. And if you know these two things, then you can start taking actionable steps in order to improve those so that you can get approved in the future. But if you simply fill out an application and then you're denied, oftentimes you will simply get a denial letter without any real context associated with why you were denied. And so you don't have a good idea of what you need to work on in the future, and you've just become discouraged about applying later on down the road. Getting insight into your approval odds will not only save you time, energy, and headache, it will also increase your odds of being able to be approved later on down the road if you're not able to get approved today. Talking with a banker about what you need to work on, what you need to provide, what you should concentrate on will be a really great path to pursue if you're somebody that doesn't meet all the requirements today. Going into the approval process of getting a loan or getting a mortgage or getting an SBA loan is something that I see all the time. People simply go into this process blind and they have no real idea of whether or not they're going to be approved. But this is a mistake that can be easily avoided by simply talking to a banker, talking to an expert in the field, and doing your own research. And once you're able to figure out if you can get approved or not, then you'll know if you should pursue forward or if you should take some time and prove your odds and then apply again in the future. This is a mistake that can easily be avoided, but it's a mistake that I see all the time. People that go to apply for an SBA loan when there is simply zero chance that they'll get approved. And the final mistake that you should absolutely avoid is to avoid any type of get money quick scheme. Now, I get these types of things in the mail all of the time of people that are offering me quick money for my business. Need money today? Fill out this form and we'll send you $10,000. Or these types of online schemes that you see all the time on the internet of people offering you quick cash. Now, the reality is that there is no such thing as quick cash. Whether you're somebody who's needing a mortgage, a loan, an auto loan, an SBA loan, whatever the case is, there is no such thing as an easy way to go about doing this. They will always require you to give a lot of paperwork, a lot of information. There will always be work that is required by you in order to secure these funds. And if you see anywhere that there is somebody telling you that you can access these funds quickly and easily with little to no effort, then I would turn around in the opposite direction and run as quickly as you can. This is unfortunately something that for many of us seems like a very no-brainer thing to do, but for others this is something that many people end up falling for and end up losing a lot of money because of it. These schemes are getting more and more intricate, they're getting more and more complex, they look legitimate on the surface, and because of that it can be very easy to fall for these schemes and to lose a ton of money in the process. And whenever you fall for these schemes, not only do you lose money, but you probably will also lose your chance of getting approved for a legitimate loan in the future. Always do your due diligence before filling out any application. Always make sure that you are working with a reputable bank and a reputable source, and never ever fall for these get money quick schemes. They are almost always false. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, getting a loan does not have to be complex. And if you just do your research and if you do your due diligence, and you will be set up for success when it comes to getting approved for these loans. Many of the mistakes that I see people make on a day-to-day basis are mistakes associated with not doing your own research and not going into the situation as prepared as possible. If you do your research, if you do your due diligence, if you make sure that you have your documentation, and if you go in with a very clear and very realistic expectation, then you will be set up for success when it comes to getting approved for a loan, whether it be an SBA loan, whether it be a mortgage, whether it be a car loan, whatever the case is. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.